You love your cat. That's not the question. The question is whether the things you do every day, the things that feel completely normal, are landing the way you intend them to. Because some of them aren't. Not because you're doing anything malicious, not because you're a bad owner, but because cats communicate in a language that most people were never taught to read. And the gap between what you mean and what your cat experiences can be wider than you realize. This isn't a list of obvious things. You already know not to yell at your cat or leave them without food. This is the other list, the one about the things that feel fine, the things that look like love from the outside, the things that your cat is quietly communicating a problem with in their language, which is body language, which most people miss. Your cat cannot tell you when something you do makes them uncomfortable. They cannot sit you down and explain what's wrong. They can only behave and hope that you notice. This video is about learning to notice, not to make you feel guilty, to make the relationship better. Because once you understand what your cat is actually experiencing, the adjustments are usually small. The difference they make is not. Let's start with something that happens in almost every cat household every day. You want to hold your cat. Maybe they're nearby and they look comfortable, and you want that contact. Maybe you've had a hard day, and the weight of a cat in your arms is exactly what you need. So you pick them up, and your cat goes stiff, or starts to struggle, or tolerates it for a few seconds, and then pushes against you until you let them go. And you let them go, and they walk away. And everyone pretends it didn't happen. Their feet left the ground, which means their ability to control their own movement, to flee, to reposition, to respond to a threat was removed. Here is what your cat experienced in those few seconds. For a predator that relies on agility and ground contact for both offense and defense, loss of ground control is a significant physiological stressor. Their body doesn't know this is safe. Their body only knows that the ground is gone, and something large is holding them. The cat that goes rigid in your arms is not being dramatic. It is experiencing a stress response. Cortisol rises, heart rate increases. The body prepares to escape. All of this happens in seconds, and all of it is invisible to you, because the cat looks like it's just sitting there. Some cats love being held. They've learned through positive experience that being held means warmth and safety and positive attention. These cats will lean into it, relax, sometimes purr. And some cats never fully make this association, because being held was never consistently paired with positive outcomes for them, or because their individual temperament simply doesn't extend to it. The problem is not picking up cats that like being held. The problem is picking up cats that don't, repeatedly, for your comfort, and not noticing the signals they're giving you. The signals: stiff body, tail tucked or low, ears rotating back, head turning away, one or both paws pressing against you. These are not attitude. These are requests, and ignoring them, however lovingly, teaches your cat that their communication doesn't work, that asking doesn't matter, that they will be held regardless of what they signal. Over time, this erodes trust. This one surprises people. Direct, sustained eye contact, holding a cat's gaze without blinking for more than a few seconds, is experienced by cats as a dominance or threat signal. Not always, not with every cat, in every context, but consistently enough that it's worth understanding what's actually happening. In feline body language, prolonged direct eye contact between cats means one of two things: challenge or aggression. Cats who are about to fight often hold each other's gaze without blinking. Cats who are uncertain about each other use prolonged staring as an assessment. The slow blink, by contrast, the deliberate and slow closing and opening of the eyes, is a peace signal. It says, "I see you. I'm not a threat. You're safe." When you stare at your cat, you are in their language, either issuing a challenge or failing to signal peace. You will often see cats break eye contact and look away. Before you do, this is the feline version of de-escalation. They are ending the stare down. The simple adjustments: blink, slow, deliberate, warm blinks toward your cat, are received as friendly signals. Many cats will slow blink back. A 2020 study from the University of Sussex confirmed that cats respond to human slow blinking by slow blinking in return, and are more likely to approach a human who slow blinked at them. It is, in the most literal biological sense, the way you smile at a cat. This one is close to the picking up problem, but operates at a different level. Cats are not dogs. This is a thing people say, but the specific implication for social interaction is often underappreciated. Dogs evolved as pack animals, with social structures built around continuous group engagement. Their baseline is togetherness. Interaction is the norm. Cats evolved as solitary hunters. Their baseline is independence. They engage when they choose to engage. Solitude is not loneliness for them. It is the ordinary state of an autonomous animal, moving through its territory on its own schedule. What this means in practice: when your cat retreats, goes to a high shelf, tucks into a box, hides under a bed, they are not asking for you to follow them and continue the interaction. They are asking for space. The retreat is the signal. It is not ambiguous. It is not a test to see if you care enough to follow. It is a request, in the clearest behavioral language available to them, to be left alone for now. Following a cat into their retreat space, crouching down to look at them under the bed, lifting them out of their box to hold them, communicates to the cat that their signal didn't work, that retreat doesn't actually result in space. And a cat that learns this often stops retreating and starts the next level of communication, which is usually hissing, swatting, or biting, not because they became aggressive, because every softer signal failed. The difference between a cat that hisses as a first resort and a cat that uses it as a last resort is usually a history of having their earlier communication respected or ignored. Cats who are given consistent control over when interaction happens are, counterintuitively, more affectionate overall, because the interaction they do engage in is chosen, not tolerated. This one operates below the level of deliberate action, which is part of why it's easy to miss. Cats have hearing that extends far beyond human range, up to 85,000 Hz. Compared to the human ceiling of around 20,000 Hz, they can detect sounds at volumes and frequencies that are completely inaudible to you. Sudden loud sounds trigger the feline startle response, adrenaline release, heart rate spike, body bracing for threat. This happens involuntarily. The cat doesn't decide to be startled. The nervous system responds before the brain processes whether the sound is actually dangerous, and repeated triggering of this response, living in an environment where sudden loud sounds happen regularly, keeps the cat's nervous system in a state of low-grade chronic activation. You can see this in cats who live in loud households. They are often more reactive overall, more easily startled, more likely to bolt at small sounds. This isn't personality. It's cumulative stress load, the things most people don't think about. Not just the obvious loud noises, but the sudden ones. The alarm you set but forgot about. The phone notification at maximum volume. Dropping something on a hard floor without warning. Each individual event is small. Accumulated over time, they add up. The adjustment isn't silence. It's awareness. Turning down notification volume. Moving slowly in spaces where the cat is resting. These aren't inconveniences. They're the difference between a home that feels manageable and a home that feels unpredictable. This is the one that most surprises cat owners when they hear it explained, because it sounds like it should work the other way. Cats are not comforted by unpredictability. They are stressed by it. Cats are creatures of routine and pattern. Their nervous systems are built to read and predict. Their environment, predictability, for a cat, is safety. When the environment behaves consistently, the cat can relax. They know what comes next. When the rules change, when the couch is allowed on Monday and not allowed on Tuesday, when you're warm and engaging in the morning and distant in the evening, when you respond to the same behavior, with affection sometimes and frustration other times, the cat cannot build a reliable model of their environment. They cannot predict what will happen, and an unpredictable environment is, at the neurological level, a threatening one. This shows up in ways that owners often misread as stubbornness or deliberate defiance. The cat keeps doing the thing you've told them not to do, not because they're ignoring you, because the rule has never been applied consistently enough for them to register it as a rule. They're not defying, they're confused. Or, worse, they've learned that the rule doesn't actually apply consistently. So they test it, because that's the rational response to an inconsistent signal. The most stressful version of this is inconsistency in the human's emotional state. Cats are highly attuned to human affect. They read body language, vocal tone, and even cortisol changes in scent. When the person they're bonded with is emotionally unpredictable, warm and present one day, distant and irritable the next, for reasons the cat cannot trace, the cat cannot regulate its own stress response. They are living with a variable they cannot predict or manage. This is not a reason to never have a bad day. It is a reason to be aware that your emotional state is something your cat is continuously reading and responding to. This is perhaps the most important section, because the behavior that results from it is so often misread. Punishment-based responses to unwanted cat behavior. Spraying water, making sudden loud noises, physically moving the cat away with force. Do not teach cats what you want them to do instead. They teach cats that you are unpredictably dangerous. The cat does not experience the punishment as connected to the behavior. They experience it as something the large primate in their environment did, for reasons they cannot understand. The association they form is not scratching the couch equals bad. The association they form is when the human is in a certain state, unpredictable bad things happen. This is why cats punished this way become more anxious in general, more avoidant of the person who punished them, more likely to perform the unwanted behavior when that person isn't present. Because the thing they've learned is not don't do this, but don't do this when the human is watching. The behavior doesn't decrease, it moves to rooms and times where the human isn't there to punish it. And then there's the relationship damage. A cat that has been sprayed with water, or chased, or grabbed when it didn't expect it, learns that the human who did this is a source of threat. Every subsequent approach carries that memory. The slow blink won't land the same way. The lap sitting won't feel as safe. The trust that was built through months of positive interaction can be eroded much faster than it was built. None of this means tolerating genuinely problematic behavior. It means that the tools at work, redirection, environmental management, positive reinforcement, consistency, are available. They're more effective, and they don't cost you anything. In terms of the relationship, none of what's in this video requires perfection. Cats are not fragile. They are resilient, adaptable, and genuinely forgiving. A single bad moment does not undo a relationship. A single loud noise, a single forced hug, a single inconsistent response. These are not catastrophic. What matters is the pattern, the sum of what your cat experiences every day. Whether, on balance, their environment is predictable, and their signals are heard. Whether the being they are most bonded with, the person whose smell they know, whose footsteps they recognize, whose emotional state they are always monitoring, is someone they can trust to notice when something is wrong. The gap between loving your cat and your cat feeling loved is usually not large. It's usually one or two small adjustments in awareness. The awareness that the stiff body in your arms is telling you something, that the cat who breaks eye contact is de-escalating, that the cat who hid under the bed and you followed, that cat was asking for something. You didn't give them. You now know what they were asking for, and the next time it happens, the next time you notice the body going rigid, or the gaze breaking, or the retreat beginning, you will have a choice that you didn't have before. You'll know what the signal means, and you can respond to it. That is the whole difference, not perfection. Just a little more translation, because your cat has been trying to tell you these things every day, in the only language they have, and they will keep trying, for as long as you're paying attention. Understanding what hurts your cat is just the beginning, because every small behavior they show has a reason, and every reason you understand brings you closer to them,